Hi everyone. So it's my due date today. So I'm here to do a 40-week pregnancy update. I wanted to try to get it recorded today because at this point, who knows how much longer I'm actually going to be pregnant, and so I wanted to get an update up as promptly as possible so that I don't miss out on documenting the end of this pregnancy. So today is my due date, February 27th, which I honestly, I had kind of tried to convince myself that I was going to go late, and largely just to make it easier to deal with, like, the end, and not to get myself too focused on, like, the due date being very accurate or, you know, meaning a lot. But I've had, and I'll talk about it in a minute, I've had some stuff going on for the last, not quite a week, but since like last Wednesday, that I would have sworn that I would have had the baby already. Just some of the signs and things that have come up, and like I was pretty convinced for a little while that I was gonna go into labor over the weekend, and that would have actually worked out really well in some regards, but anyway, but no, that didn't happen. So anyway, for starters, at 40 weeks, the baby's the size of a newborn baby. Like, the photo app that I use says it's the size of a jackfruit, which I don't know how many of you have seen jackfruits. I have never seen one, so I don't really know how big that is, but other places say it's the size of a watermelon and stuff like that. So, you know, watermelon's a little bit easier to imagine and picture. So about 7.5 pounds or around there, and about 20 inches long or so. And for all intents and purposes, the baby is done cooking and is ready to be born. So this past week, I can't remember what day I recorded my update last week on, but last Wednesday I had acupuncture and had some mild contractions, I think. So it's really tough for me to know what like early labor contractions feel like, because I didn't ever experience that in my first labor. My first labor basically started with my water breaking, and then nothing happened, and then it like all of a sudden went into like full painful, had to breathe through the contractions. So I didn't really experience what like early labor contractions would feel like and stuff like that. I didn't have much in the way of like signs that labor was coming on and all of that. So I feel a little bit like, even though I've been through birth before, this is all kind of new territory. So Wednesday after my acupuncture appointment, actually while I was driving home from it, I had some very mild like crampy contractions, and then nothing else. And then Friday in the early morning, I woke up and was having similar kinds of crampy, uncomfortable contraction kind of things, and was having them actually for a couple of hours, I think. I wasn't timing them or anything. I would guess they were coming every 10 to 15 minutes. They weren't super regular though, and I was just kind of like aware of them. I couldn't get back to sleep. I also had really horrible acid, like not really heartburn, but like just feeling like acid and stuff, and feeling kind of nauseous. And so I was kind of, you know, psyching myself up, which is really the last thing that you want to do in a situation like that. But I was kind of like, oh, is today gonna be the day? I didn't really want Friday to be the day. Partly because it's someone in my husband's family birthday, and I just not someone that I'm super fond of, and so I didn't really want them to share a birthday with the baby. So I was not super interested in labor starting that day, but my parents were planning on coming up that afternoon and staying for the weekend. So I kind of was feeling like this weekend would actually be really good because they'll already be here. I won't have to stress about like when do I call them to have them come up and stay with my son. So I was kind of like convincing myself that maybe it would happen that weekend, over the weekend. But anyway, so after a couple of hours, like either things died down or I just went back to sleep finally. And in the morning, nothing was happening. So I continued to have like here and there, I felt one of those kind of crampy contractions over the weekend, but it really was nothing major. My son also, unfortunately, had a bad cough for the last, probably it started like last Thursday or Friday. Actually, no, it's been longer than that. It's been like a week that he had this kind of cold, but mostly a cough. I eventually narrowed it down and figured out that probably was allergies. We had a big swing in the temperature here, so it got really warm all of a sudden, and I think that really affects him. So that thankfully is better now, but over the weekend it was kind of rough and he was waking up a lot in the night, and I kind of felt like I was not totally relaxed and like comfortable with going into labor while it was happening and then being away from him overnight. So I don't know if that stopped anything from progressing or what, but nothing happened. And then my parents stayed until Sunday, yesterday, and then they left yesterday afternoon, and nothing seemed to be happening again. But then again, overnight last night, like before I was going to bed, I was feeling some kind of contraction things, and then I woke up at about midnight and felt like I was having some contractions and was like, oh, maybe I'll end up with another due date baby, because my son was born on his due date. But I convinced myself, I'm like, I need to go back to sleep, because whether this is the real thing or not, I really want to be well rested and I want to get as much sleep as I can. So I went back to sleep. I woke up maybe an hour or two later and there was still some stuff going on. There was also just a ton of baby movement. So I'm not entirely sure if I was feeling like cramping from contractions or if I was just in pain from the baby moving around so much. But in any event, I woke up this morning and again, nothing has happened. So that's just kind of the pattern. I had another acupuncture appointment on Saturday and I had an acupuncture appointment this morning. So we're kind of ramping that up. And I, as of right now, have another appointment scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. I'm really hoping I don't make it till then, but we'll see what happens. I have it scheduled anyway. And I also have a prenatal appointment in the morning on Wednesday. So I hope I don't make it to either of those, but we'll see what happens. I also had a prenatal appointment on Friday, and that was all good. I'm out of breath. That was all good. Nothing really to report. Just kind of the usual stuff. So that was good, and I go back on Wednesday for another appointment. And basically, like, we're not talking about induction or anything yet, and we won't really until I hit at least 41 plus weeks. But if I were to go past 42 weeks, I would no longer be eligible for a midwife to deliver. So I don't want to go past 42 weeks. So we've got the next 2 weeks, and honestly, I'm trying not to tell myself that it's going to happen soon or anything. Like, I'm trying not to have expectations, but I do really feel like it's close. There's signs that it's close. I have not had bloody show or anything like that, but I do feel like it's gonna happen soon. I hope. So that is kind of what the last week has been like. I'm very tired. I'm trying to sleep when I can. I actually should go and lie down and try to take a nap while Lex is napping. I have found that I'm like really hungry now, which has not been the case the rest of the pregnancy. So I don't know if I'm trying to like fuel up or something, but definitely noticing that I'm getting hungry and having some of that acid stuff. I had the acid stuff again last night when I woke up, having the contractions and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of the majority of what is going on right now. Lots and lots of baby movement. Lots of movement like down low. I do feel like the baby has dropped somewhat, but it's so hard for me to tell exactly what is going on. So I'm not really declaring anything one way or another. But that's pretty much what's going on. I'm ready to be done. Everything's basically ready. I mean, there's always more stuff that I can do, but the car seat is installed and the bags are packed. My husband packed his bag last night, finally. And we're just kind of ready and just waiting at this point. So hopefully this little baby will make its appearance soon. I'm really getting anxious to meet him or her and find out if it is a him or her and all of that. So hopefully it will be soon. But that is it for me today. As I mentioned in my last video, if you are interested in following me on Instagram, which I will probably post something there either while I'm in labor or after the baby's born, I'll post something there before I get something up here. So if you're interested in following me, I'll put a link to my Instagram account below. It is private, so you do have to request to follow me. But if you want to just like leave a message down below or something letting me know that you're doing that, that would be great. And yeah, other than that, just waiting at this point. So hoping I don't make it to make another update next week, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's it for this week's update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.